All right, we appear to be live. Where are we at here? So we're working on programming all the passives in. Most of these are implemented at this point. Last one we implemented was heal over time and the general buff system. Okay, so this is an interesting one. So this one is a buff that is applied when a target is bleeding. Hey Connor, how's it going? Welcome to the stream. This one might need some thinking on how do we want to implement this. It would be much easier if we tied it specifically to causing a bleed as opposed to a bleed existing, but I want it to be more in line with a bleed effect existing causing this. It's going all right. We're getting real close to implementing more animals, which is kind of the end stage of the demo. So let's get some music playing here. Excuse me. What soundtrack do I want to play? Some sort of game soundtrack. What am I feeling? What am I feeling for soundtracks? I don't know. We'll do Final Fantasy VII because we did 6 and 9 recently. Might as well go in order of how I feel about those games. All right, so start some notes. Maybe make this conditional. Actually, let's think about this. Let's think about this in a different spot. Let's think about this in terms of the buff timer. So this specifically goes through, counts down the buffs. Not the easiest to plug in a different, like, check here. I might just change the passive, honestly. I think the difference is negligible enough and it's not worth the headache of implementation. So this becomes when you apply a bleed to the opponent. When you apply a bleed effect. Duration is equal to the bleed, I guess. It might work. Or I just give it its own time. I think this is fine. Is this the longest tooltip we have in here? Kinda, yeah. If the other tooltips are about what we would prefer for length, we might want to try to trim this down. Hey, Cryo? Not going to be here tonight? You got a big math exam tomorrow? Yeah, that's fair. Work on your math exam. Focus on school. Okay, we can say when you apply bleed instead of apply a bleed effect. Then duration can be start of the sentence. Duration equal to the bleed duration. Duration equal to bleed duration. That should be short enough. That should work. Okay, so then this just needs to be implemented on the timing side of things. So on bleed is not otherwise a thing. Okay, let's do the thing we do where we just copy this over to a notepad doc. So we have it for reference while we work on implementing it and matching up the syntax. So we implement this. Okay, what is the closest thing we have that's similar? We have... the scalar is not really a thing on attack. I think we have to implement a new layer of passive checking, right? In the combat script. Do status probably is the place to do this. Code is not the best implementation because it loops over every status effect instead of having a singular loop, which is awkward. This should be rewritten, but I mean, we have that already here, that this whole thing should be rewritten. And that is way overcomplicated, yeah. Okay, so maybe we do it here. The duration and scale are already, yeah, specified. Okay, so let's start figuring this out. Implementation of buffs triggered by a status effect application. So this function would need to know the effect. Actually, we should probably feed it the effect, the scale, and the duration. It needs to know who the attacker is, yeah. So I might as well just propagate all these variables through, I think. There's no reason not to just bring them all along for the ride. Okay, one thing here I noticed, we're using attacker here on this resistance check function. Is that correct? Attacker is the implementation correct, I guess. The player is attacking, then it checks enemy. Yeah, that's okay. Okay. Yeah, I think just this one function should handle everything. We'll just embed it all within this. So this is where buffs are applied, and well, this is where buffs are. Let's put it this way. This is where passives are parsed. Valid buffs are applied. So this function, we'll put it right up here. Okay. Okay, one thought. We have on defend. On defend, on attack. Maybe we should call this like apply bleed. Because on bleed is ambiguous. This is specifically you applying a bleed versus getting bled. Because theoretically you could have an inverse of this where you get this stat bonus when you're bleeding. Yeah. Immediate buff, tick buff, grit. The specs, stoicism. These are out of combat things. This is an immediate one. Immediate buff movement. Yeah, okay. So we don't have anything else that's going to interact with this code. It is really just this one ability. Okay. So we got to do if attacker. Yeah, see again, if we would have implemented the variable names better, we could carry this through as the variable label itself, but we didn't do that. That's fine. Passive logic. Array contains. I don't think we can use that. Yeah, no, that's not good. So what we do. So there's two ways we could do this. Let's make a note. We can parse all passives every time. Oro, but theoretically uses more resources. Now this may not really matter. Or we have a list of the relevant passives. This is quicker, but limited and not mod friendly. So I think we do the first one. This is probably better long term. So yeah, we do a for loop over the global passives. Just gonna find a good for loop to copy because don't want to risk messing up the syntax. Okay, relevant array. Global.pc.passives. Actually, yeah, okay. Let's do this way. We'll do it, we'll set this up where we're not duplicating the code twice over, because that's way less readable. Okay, so player character passives, enemy character passives. And then this gets all unindented. Okay. Relevant array. Okay, so then we parse the individual passives. So we're looking at relev array entry k, which is the passive name tag. Passive name. Passive's master? Is this what we want? Yes, global.passive's master. This is the info for the passive. Pull passive info. Oh, I haven't actually done that yet. We need to use the name tag. So the name gets us the info from the master dictionary. So we want to pull the effect. So pinfo dot effect. String delimiter. String split on comma space. Sure. Okay, and then for the effect, this should be effectively bleed. Okay, so now we want to do if f's 0, f2, apply bleed. I think we do it this way. We do f tag 1, tag 2 equals no, this doesn't work, right? Shit. Wait, why is this stat trig buff? Why is this red? Yeah, this doesn't do the thing we need it to do. Okay, I have an idea. We need to look at capitalization. String upper. Force a string to only have upper cases. That could be useful. Wait, okay, let's think about this. So we take bleed, we fully capitalize it. Looks like apply bleed. Let's do this. We just capitalize this. And then we do string upper of this. Yeah, now the casing is completely removed. So if this is effect tag, then they match. Check match. Casing not relevant. Okay, this red is gone now. I think it was a bracket issue. Temporarily. Okay. So this is it. This is the only area. This is the only section where the only place that anything happens, I guess you'd say. Cut out non-relevant passives. Okay, so we had a buff function, right? No, not really. It's put through here. This should be handled in a function. This should not probably be its own function. This should definitely be its own function. But we're not going to do that. Okay, so we go if f2 1 absolute equals buff. We need another layer here, which is a for loop. We'll call this M because that's already what it's labeled as. M plus plus M. I guess we'll do F's equals F2 string split F2 splitting at plus. Splitting for F's. Right? I think this is right. Let's look at it. F's of M. This is each of the different stats. Looping through buffed stats. Yeah, I guess we'll keep this same syntax, pass name 1. Pass name 1. We pull the base. Entry 0. Yeah. Pull the scale, entry 0. Multiplied by rank. Which isn't a thing here. Okay, and the timer needs to be set different. Right. Pass name 1 is let's do this. String split, pass name, comma, comma. 0th entry, and then we need the rank. Hey, Rugops, welcome to the stream. How's it hanging? Rank equals entry 1. This should be correct. Name, rank. Name is passed here to pull the info. We have the rank. Yeah, it should work. Okay, then we gotta redo this array push part for the timers, because the timers are different now. So the timer should be this duration thing here. Yeah, so this should just be duration. That should be it. We're gonna fix the syntax. Let's make a note. These buffs use status, effect, duration. Do not have own duration. Yes, we're listening to Final Fantasy VII today for music. Because I couldn't think of anything else. We've done 6 and 9. I might as well keep going down the list of Final Fantasy games in order of how much I like them. Should be everything we need for this. This should be it. Oh, no, not everything. We're missing one more thing here. In that this is only applying to the player character. We need this. This also goes in here. Did I say 6-9? Oh no. How will I ever live with myself? Oh yeah, Final Fantasy 6, Final Fantasy 9. Yeah, it's true. I did say 6-9. I realized this. I've never made this connection. At least I did. At least my favorites weren't 6 and 7. So that's good. I'm sticking with my age group and having 69 be the funny number instead of 67. This doesn't matter. Actually, let's just delete this all together. What matters here is we do EN over PC. Okay, that should be that. So we go to test it. Genetic info, we need to add... Maybe that's secretly why I never liked Final Fantasy VII as much as most people do. Because I always liked 6 a lot. So I was fated to have to pick a different one. Because it couldn't be 6 and 7. This is Smell of Blood. Smell of Blood 3. Then we add, I guess, what was the bleed one? Fishhook. I put that in place of, I guess, kick. Alright, fish hook, fish hook, fish hook, smell of blood, and fish hook. Alright. Then... Did I put a readout in here? I did not. Show debug message. Global.pc bus. Okay. Discord is backtracking on their IDBS. Oh, that's great. I didn't hear that they had backtracked on it, but I saw a lot of pressure coming out there. And I was not happy about that. I definitely wasn't going to be giving them my fucking ID. Okay, we got a mangled thing here. Line 695, assignment operator expected. Oh, I have a double equals typo. Okay. Unknown token, e-array ref, and compile expression. Probably the same error. Let's just run it again. Yeah, I think that one typo was all 3 error messages. Okay. Fish hook, smell of blood. Let's see if it works. No, we gotta crash immediately. Passive master pass name effect. Expected a number. What do we got here? Line 211. Pass info. Pass name 1. Effect. Effect. Structure from hash argument. HTML object O layout create O. Layout create. Oh, layout. Oh, in here. Interesting. This is a different bug. This is something not working with older code. 211? The error is this. Attacker stats. Cool up passive name, pass name 1. Effect. Why did this break? Okay, well, one mistake that's coming up later is the fact that I didn't make rank an integer value. Did this stop playing? Yes. Okay, well, let's move on to the next track anyway. I don't really care about the church theme. Pass name effect. Might be a naming thing. Did I... Oh, I see the problem. I see it. We don't use realistic capitalization for the code. We use forced capitalization, so of should have been capitalized here in the genetic info. That's why that bugged out, is it couldn't find the thing. Yeah, right here. Now, we could have future-proofed this, maybe, so that doesn't crash the code, but... It's much easier for it to crash to recognize the problem. Crashing is not always bad. Putting in fixes, things to stop crashes, can actually be very detrimental, because it will hide where your code is broken. This is a big thing. I literally, part of one of my jobs came about because somebody did that to some crucial code. They put in an if-then check to bypass code crashes, and then it wasn't documented. And so this code was like running every time through some data, and then we're getting weird results like 5% of the time, and it just turned out like that 5% of the time the code should have crashed, and the person that originally wrote it just essentially wrote in a bypass, which is bullshit. That's really bad thing to do. But hey, it got me paid for like 6 months amongst some other things, so it worked out for me pretty well. Yeah, the fake disguise things is probably what I would have ended up doing if anything. You just use like a Gmod fucking model or something or whatever. Very stupid. I don't know why we gotta continue to live in clown world, but we do. Then we need to fix the integer problem here that I realized was going to be a thing. So this is integer. This should be an integer value. Okay. One bug fixed, one bug discovered and fixed. Okay. Okay, we got a crash. Stat trick buff under dibby status under resolve attack. Failed exit non-zero status. Okay, we have the issue is .fs. Oh, this is, yeah, what is this? This is from somewhere else. This should be like path. Yeah. I must have copied that from somewhere else, or I just switched the variable name inadvertently without thinking about it. Okay, Fishhook missed. Okay, but okay, let's look at the miss, actually. Class, pdef. Okay, yeah, it didn't like inadvertently buff me, which is what I wanted to check. It looks good. All right, let's try this again. Okay, we landed it. Let's check the code. So, sumac 90. Damn timer, def timer, accuracy timer. 90, accuracy defense. Damage. Where's evasion? There's evasion. Okay, yeah, looks like it's correct. Okay, that worked. The timer was set. The buff was set. I didn't bother letting it count down, but I'm sure it's fine. Okay, next passive. We'll leave that one on there until we need to switch to a different one, I think. I'm not going to immediately undo it. Actually, let's do this. Implemented. Then let's look at the other ones. It's the tick buff. crit, then training stuff, hustle, and out the gate. Yeah, okay, so the rest of these are not going to be connected to a specific attack, so let's actually, we will undo that. So, genetic info. Just go no passive for now. Okay. Okay. Long game. So this is a ticking increase to stats, which happens every tick. So probably optimally would implement this under the actual passive ticking code. Or the buffs, I mean, under here. Check PC buff, check N buff. How would we handle this optimally? We do a function tick buff. This passes a buff type. So using the same syntax is probably good. Okay. So we do buff type. And I think stealing most of the code we just wrote is probably good. So let's use this code as a basis. Buff type attacker. If attacker is player, pull the passives. If attacker is enemy, pull the passives. Yeah. We get this specific array. The name, the rank, the info, all the same. Now, where we don't need stuff is this effect tag stuff. So this can go. This instead becomes specifically tick. If string upper, I guess we'll leave the string upper thing and call this tick. So per tick, if effect is buff, split, go through it. If player, if enemy. This debug message is what we should be using to monitor buffs specifically. And then we want to change this last line back, actually. Not the best version of this to actually use. Because this one's better. Then do we get the ranks and the scales and stuff correctly here? Well, we don't need that, but the rank. Yeah. Attacker's player is enemy. Actually, yeah, I'm not sure I want to do this way specifically. Because this would add every second of battle, would add another thing to be checked. Okay, so maybe for tick buffs, we have one place these survive. Maybe. Already paused them. Oh no, the soundtrack ended already. That's crazy. That's not a full soundtrack. What the fuck? Wait, why did it stop? I think when the soundtrack is, or the playlist is like gone. Wait, did it like autoplay? Did like the playlist end and then it autoplayed a new one? I'm very confused. No, it just kicked me out of the playlist. What in the fuck? That was weird. Yeah, there's still like 60 songs left on here. Okay, that was really weird. I guess I must have somehow clicked on, because I skipped a track, I must have somehow clicked into the video specifically out of the playlist, which was like nuts. Okay, but yes, back to this. So we're in the layout here. Yeah, maybe it's ghosts. That could be it. Fucking ghosts. So these are where these are initialized. So I think what we could do is we could just initialize these with values. So if we do 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. Timer. We'll just double these. We'll just make it like 120. Actually, yeah, we could have one singular number for long duration, like full duration buff. That would be not a bad idea. We could have actually implemented some other buffs in this way, too. Okay. So now what we do instead instead of all this, yeah, actually none of this is relevant. This is all way too much going on here. So we want actually this is still relevant. This one stays. Because this is simply incrementing the total counter. And then what we do is we actually copy this. Then we do this. And this one is now the effect, but entry 0. So the global.pc.dam 0 should work. Now, this is being applied every time this happens, so that needs to be changed. So the way we handled this before is we didn't. We just kept the timers running. Yeah. So we need to implement a timer. Okay. So we do this. Add event on creation. Tick timer 0. Plus equals 1 over room speed. Room underscore speed. Which is deprecated. Maybe we should stop using this. Yeah, I don't know. I'm thinking I'm just gonna keep this syntax. It's deprecated, but we're not changing it, so I don't think it really matters. I mean, usage is discouraged, but like, so what? Okay, so the tick timer counts up. So this starts at 0 and gains 1/60th every time this goes. Okay, yeah, I guess we just use this. Yeah, we do it like this. We do if tick timer is greater than or equals 1, do the buffs, reset the tick timer. So we do tick buff for the buff type. This can't be timered here. This doesn't work because this is already looping over buff types. So we do the buff type. Player enemy. We just had another conditional check here at the end where we reset. Reset timer for tick-based buffs. Okay. Player enemy. Oops. Why is this here? Okay, I think that's good. We got to double check the script because there might be an error here because it looked like we copied an error over, which is that yeah, here. Okay, I fixed it. Okay, then we want to do... This is long game. Go to... Yeah, let's do this one thing at a time. So let's do... Here. Joe and Mac music? I have no idea what that is. This is What's it called? Cosmo Canyon from Final Fantasy VII, right? Red 13 or whatever. Bugenhagen. It's been a while since I've actually played 7. So we do long game, comma 3. Interesting. It's scaling. Okay, 44 seconds. Stop. We scaled up to 128. We're scaling by 8 per tick? Oh, a pair of cavemen going around doing things to save the world. I've never heard of that game. Huh. Okay, so that was about 16 seconds. So it looks like the timing's correct. Should this have been scaling by 8? Base 1, scale 1. Oh, wait a second. Wait, what? Where's this getting 8 from? Okay, first off, this is... I didn't quite implement this in the correct way that the description is. Let's make a note. I'm not going to change it because nothing else works this way. Partial implementation. 1 second cadence is hard-coded. Yeah, so this is written in such a way where it doesn't have to be every second, but it is hard-coded. I got character assassinated. Rough. Let me look this up quick. Caveman Ninja? Yeah, I've never seen this. Game Boy. Bunch of other stuff. Interesting. Okay, so why did this do weird things? The string is tick. The right stuff is getting incremented. It's just the numbering. should be 1 and 1. So that was one bug. Because we had the first number being a timer. But that doesn't explain why I went up by 8. The timer section here, all this worked. Is it happening 8 times? Why would it happen 8 times? Because there's 8 buff types. That's why it happens 8 times. Yeah, this never uses buff type. We wrote this with buff type initially, but then we just use all this code that doesn't care. This only gives a shit who the attacker is. That's the bug. This should not be here. This all should have just been outside of this function altogether initially. Or outside of that loop, I mean, initially. Yeah, okay. But it was working. The only issue was the placement of the trigger. Now, do we want to implement this to actually work on the right time frame? How would we do that? We keep a timer. We don't reset the timer. And then the tick buff instead actually checks the time. So we'd have something like this where the time check or time, call it param, which would be this. So this would be a number. Time param is number, integer number. How often buff ticks up? Then we just do a simple check. We need a mod check. Modulo. A division remainder. Expressions and operators. Division and modulo. Div and mod or percent are division and modulo. So we should be able to do that here. We do Tick timer, mod, time per. No, that's not going to work. That works once. That doesn't work iteratively. Oh no, yeah. It's if tick timer mod time param equals 0. No, yes, that does always work. Because if the division remainder is zeroed out, that's because it's divisible by a whole number. So time param should be 1. So if 1 divided by 1 equals 0, it ticks, because that's at 1 second. 2 mod 1 is 0, it ticks at 2 seconds. So on and so forth. And this should work for any amount of ticks. So this should be fully implemented now. So we take this, we'll put this here. And now we can remove the condition and the reset. So comment that. Show debug, tick timer. Let's run it. This should be full implementation. It's best to hard code as little as possible too, in case I add more passives similar to these ones when we do the full roster. Okay, let's stop the battle already. We've got enough info. So 3.98 some accuracy 3, 4.0 some accuracy 3. It's already, yeah, it's not working. It worked once. When it hit 1. Oh. Is it because this hit exactly 1? Yeah, the real question is, why is the ticks not consistent? No, this one hit 3. I mean, why does it not have a 3.01? Oh, because it's 1 over 60. Yes. Yes, of course. I've been through this exact thing before. Decimal versus 60ths. But it will always have like a 4.00. So is there still like a rounding error there? Why did this not work? Okay, we already got all the info we need. Well, I put it outside or inside the thing, so it actually didn't tell me anything. Duh. This has to be outside. If I got the info I needed, then it wouldn't matter. Like it would just be working. Okay. Why is it tick timer? Five point oh, 1.0. Which shows 4 times. Oh yeah, because it's going through 4. Yeah, no, that's correct. 5.0, 1.0. Wait. 1 and 0. Wait, yeah, why is the remainder is 1. Hold on, there's some math error. Yeah, wait, why is the remainder 1 and not 0? Wait, what the fuck? Uh, 1.0. Why will yeah, you should never, the modulo should never be. Why does the modulo return 1? Is there some sort of expectation with that I'm not thinking of? Okay, apparently this is, like, more of a thing than I thought of. Returns the remainder after dividing the dividend by the divisor. No longer modulo operator, this is remainder operator. Modulo would result in taking the sign of the divisor, not the dividend. Okay. Okay, this is overly complicated. Do I just implement if equals 0 or 1? This is, like, sufficient? I need to... I think the confusion comes from this being like a functional operator mathematically. $18, $21, $24, $27. Okay, let's check the results. So we go from 10.98 seconds at 30. We hit 11, we go up to 33 because we're going up by 3 per tick. I mean, it's working. It's working exactly how it should. I just guess I'm confused by the operator function. Can I do mods on Wolfram Alpha? Oh, I think I know what I've done. I know exactly what I've done. I just wasn't thinking that it would be like this. My parameters are in the wrong order. Wait, are they? I think they are. So we did tick timer mod time param. Time param is essentially always 1. No, this shouldn't be. This should be correct. Tick param counts up. 6 modulo 1 should be 0. Yep, it's chocobo time. Unless this mod is not functioning. Like, if this counts up, right? This doesn't, right? So time param, this is always 1. This counts up. So if this is, say, 10 mod 1 should be 0. It should not be 1. 1 mod 10 would be 1. So are these flipped in Game Maker? Maybe that's it. Maybe I misunderstood. Maybe the syntax is such that it's like that. Seconds equals time mod 60. That's not a very useful example because I don't know what the fuck time means in this context with this example. The right-hand operator of the div. Yeah, we're not using div, we're using mod, so that's fine. Mod gives you the remainder of the division. I don't... This feels like an error. Huh. Yeah, I don't know. I don't see... You would think if this was wrong, it would come up a lot. Modulo operator not working correctly. No, this is somebody discussing the choice of, like, negative values. But that's not important here either. Huh. Okay, so this might cause problems, because this might be... Because if time param is not 1, what happens? Well, it's always returning the decimal portion. No, this should be... Maybe fine? Okay, I'm a bit curious here. Let's, wait, where'd my sidebar go? Did I just, like, lose my sidebar? Yeah, there we go. If we do... Let's go to passive dictionary. Let's flag this as implemented. Implemented, but modulo behavior... Seems odd to me. If we change this to 2 seconds, every 2 seconds, the buff ticks. Does it work? If 2 seconds works, I'm going to believe that any single number works. Okay, let's tick 3 times. Let's look at this. The first tick happened at 1 second. The second tick happened at 3 seconds. Why that? Wait, why does it work that way? Why is the first one always 1? Oh, because it's always going to be mod 0 at 1? But then it's 2 seconds, it's not... No, that doesn't make sense. One mod 2. What the fuck? I'm so confused. This works, but why does it work a second out of step? Okay, I don't think I care enough. Fuck it. Fuck it. It's not important. If it works, don't question it. You may not know why it works, but let's just document it. Like, part of this might just be that there are, like, different versions of the modulo operator, and so maybe... Oops. This isn't, that odd in this context? Modular behavior seems odd. 1 mod 1 came out 0. 2 mod 1 came out 1. 3 mod 1 came out 1, etc. But there should be an additive remainder. And never actually reach 1. Because you should be able to do, like 3 divided by 2 should come out to be 1, and then 3 mod 2 should come out to be 0.5. And then you sum the 2 to get the actual answer with the division remainder. But for whatever reason, when you divide something that's fully divisible, sometimes you get 1. Which would be fucking weird. Unless somehow 2 divided by 1 is 1. In the code. And then the mod of 1 would make it 2. I don't know. Well, whatever. The weird behavior is documented. It's functional enough. I'm not going to worry about it. On to Start Strong. Immediate buff to all these stats. Oh, actually, I want to try this. Yeah, I want to try Regenerator combined with this. Long game plus Regenerator on the Carnotaurus. So we have a buff that counts up and then a buff that initializes immediately. Shouldn't be any problem. Alright, let's parse the output, make sure it looks right. So our hot buffs are 0 and 3. With timers of 107 and 47. Yeah, and the sum hot is 3. So that looks good. Let's make sure this works during 3. Okay, we needed to hit us like 3 times here or something. Well, it's missing all its fucking attacks now. Oh my god, he's 0 for 4. We could win this one probably if we actually attacked. 5 misses? 6 misses? 7 misses? What the fuck? Finally, 1 hit. Misses the death roll? This is crazy. Okay, 2 hits. Alright, we're closing it down. Let's look at the code. The big thing is this was adding defense. Okay, well we have a problem here, which is that it added a bunch. 10 of these were added, only 2 actually hit. Everything worked correctly, except actually we have a bug from Enduring that we missed. So we're gonna fix that. Oh, we need to finish... We need to implement the code for the other character here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, that should be that. Okay, now why is Enduring broke? This is a combat issue. It doesn't recognize that the attack missed. Stat trigger buff. Nope, that's that one. Shit. If buff. So the issue's probably here, right? Let's parse this properly. So the real question becomes on defend. If split info on attack. If on defend. Where are we doing this? Parse passives here. But yeah, let's go through the attack function again here, basically. We've got the aggressive checks, hit chance, if hit, did we hit? Did we status? If attacker is enemy. Player, if enemy, if move value, vars. Then the death thing. Wait, where the fuck does this happen? So the buffs are handled in this function, this nightmare. Parse passives. Okay, so what are all the places parse passives is actually happening? So we've got these two initial parse passive steps. One for the player, one for the enemy. This is happening on attack resolution. So we parse this. And then, okay, so the problem here, these are being parsed before the hit. I think that's the problem. And there's never any parsing after the hit. Yeah, this is the only place this function is. I see the problem. Okay, so my next question is the counterattack thing, the counterattack bleed also bugged? Or do we code the counterattack bleed to work properly? This one, Thorny Hide. On defend, both of these. Yeah, I think Thorny Hide is set up in the same way, where it just triggers on every attack, not ones that hit. Unfortunately, the way this is organized, it's a little awkward. All right, here's what I think we're going to do. I think we're going to leave it. We're going to flag it for rewrite. Implemented, but applies to missed attacks. We really need to rewrite the combat functions for this to be handled better. Yeah, so implemented, but again applies to missed attacks. This is because paths are parsed in a single step, which only checks for application before rolling the hits. We need a two-tier check where we parse passives relevant to relevant to accuracy checking. Parse pass is relevant to the accuracy, then roll accuracy, then parse passives relevant to the actual, relevant to the outcome, I guess you could say. This also allows for much better handling of reactive effects. Does it? I mean, it does, in the sense of like hits, but it's self-explanatory. We'll delete that last comment. We'll leave the other two lines there. Okay, so that needs to be cleaned up. That's fine now. Okay, starting strong. Increasing accuracy, blah, 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 but for the first X seconds of a fight. Immediate buff. To increase by 30 for 5 seconds. Now this is analogous. To like Regenerator. Actually, it's exactly like Regenerator, because the Generator has the thing, immediate buff, accuracy damage, immediate buff hot. This should just work. This should already function. This should be implemented. Start strong and long game is an interesting combo. You get a strong starting buff to stats for the early part of the fight, but then you also get scaling stat gain over the duration of the fight. So you have like a weird like stat curve, which is fun. Okay, let's shut it down, make sure this all worked. Some accuracy 105, 102. Yeah, I think this starts at 90. Yeah. Okay, let's just check the timers are working. Yeah. Timers are working. First 15 seconds buffed. Beautiful. It just works. It's implemented. Implemented for free. True Grit. Chance to stay at 1 health when you would be defeated. There should be a you lose thing. Yeah, okay. So this creates the text output, and then here is the death condition. Check for death. So we add another check. We do if enemy HP less than or equal to 0. Check for death. Check for grit on death. And then True Grit didn't have like a chance listed, did it? It does. 5% chance to stay at 1 health when you would be defeated. Okay, so then we want to do, yeah, one of these checks. Lost my spot. There it is. Crit check equals array contains global impassive. True grit 1. Okay, here's the problem. Do I hard code this again, or do I actually make this function not like shit? Affect grid. Yeah, maybe we don't do the grit check. Maybe we just loop. You know what? I'm gonna do it like this. God, I completely lost it again. Grit. This is not the best. We can / should parse through all passives for general grit effects. Then we need a random roll, which I don't remember how we did this. Hits. Did we hit 0, random range 0 to 164? Is this the, not the greatest, but it'll work. There's a better one, but I don't remember what it was. Roll 0 to 100. Random roll, grit check. If grit check. Grit range 5. One, 2, and 3, 5, 10, and 15, hard-coded because we're sloppy. Then we do if grit range. No, it's roll. Yeah, because this can roll 0, so it should be below the range. If it's 5, we want 0 through 4 to trigger, which is correct. So HP becomes 1 if grit triggers. Okay, now we should do one more thing, which is grit should probably just be once per battle, because it's kind of bullshit. Grit and Monster Ranger can be super bullshit. Once per battle, 5% chance to stay at 1 health when you're otherwise be defeated. So, theoretically, this could be like 1, 1, 0, 1. But I'm gonna leave it. Could be 1, 0, 1 for 1 per battle. And 1 HP resolved. Other above comment relative for other grit variants in final game. Okay. Then we go to lobby layouts. No, layout. And when we're creating all this shit, we want to do global.pc gridded equals 0. Global.en gridded equals 0. And then when we do the actual grit check, we just check those store numbers. Alright, done. That should work. I'm not going to even test this. This should be pretty simple. We're just going to flag that it's untested in the code. Okay, player HP less than 0, global.pc. Player HP now is set to 1. Add animation. For trigger. Okay, passive dictionary. We are now at 10 o'clock. I should probably wrap stream up soon-ish. Implemented, but untested. Implementation is poor. Hard-coded, modularize for variants. See below. Implemented but untested. Needs animation / message for feedback. That we will do. We will put in the animation. Maybe not right now. So the specializations we could try to implement, these go under training. We're almost done implementing, though, because these are all the same thing. These will all implement in one batch. Stoicism has to be implemented in a few places. But then out the gate, and Hustle are really simple. Actually, Hustle might already work. Yeah, Hustle already works. Implemented for free. I think it already works. Did we test this maybe? Let's give it 1,000% movement. I feel like we tested this. Well, anyway, we've got like this last little handful of passives, and I think like 2 attack effects to add, and then we start adding new animals. And we got to add the animation for the grid effect. Before that too. Let's test out Hustle. I'm pretty sure this works. Maybe we even tested this already. I feel like we might have. Hustle 3. So, theoretically, we should be like 3,000% faster movement in battle if this is functioning. Oh god, we disappeared. Well, I think it works. I think we could definitely say it works. Given that we just instant transmission to another fucking planet. Let's make that not an insane value. Let's make this, well, this was 10%. 30% movement speed is already pretty high. We can make it 100. Teleports behind you. Okay, that's already bonkers. What? I literally can't get into like mid-range. Very funny. Actually, kind of want to see how crazy just the actual effect ends up being. Oops. Okay, that's actually crazy fast. Compared to... That still seems insane. Like, that doesn't feel like 30% bonus movement. That feels like... That's still way extra. There's probably a mistake on the implementation here. Unit speed plus the sum movement. Yeah, this is a percentage. This is implemented wrong. Because we're starting at a speed of like fucking 7 and we're adding 30, but it should be like 30%. So this should be divided by 100. This should be unit speed times that. Another bug squashed, I think. So now it should be 30% faster. It shouldn't really be that noticeable. Well, I think you could feel that. I think you could feel that speed. Like, that still seems like he's hustling pretty good. Yeah, look how fast he outruns the baryonics backing off with that speed boost. That's pretty good. How much could we, like... Could we push him all the way back to the back wall? And then, like, run all the way back? No, yeah, we push him all the way back there, then we just hustle all the way back over here. Buy ourselves, like, a ton of time to, like, regain points. Interesting. Cool. 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 You know what? I think I have enough time to do one more. Let's look at the implementation of out the gate. Start battle with extra stamina. So these are initialized here. Here we're going through the passives. If it's immediate. If buff. This should not be considered a buff. Oh, it's not. It's an effect. Okay, cool. So this one should be super simple. Let's implement it right this fucking moment. That was in layout. if modded stats J is buff. Actually, I need the comparison. Yeah, we just compared to hustle, actually. That's fine. Because this is the battle starting buff thing. Which just work. Just works. It just works. Todd Howard. So if buff, do this. Let's write it in front of this. We do... If modded stats J equals effect. This is some other non-buff effect at the start of battle. Split info 2, split info 1, effect buff. Modded stats J, modded stats, split info 1. Yeah, okay. So this should be the same. We can keep this loop. Even though it doesn't do anything. Just in case it does. And now we do if F's M absolutely equals stamina. Then we want the scaling effect. Base 0, scale 0. And this is okay, so this is for the attacker. So this is global.pc stand. Plus equals whatever that value is. That's the whole function. This is en stan. And that is the only thing that changes. But then if we go to genetic info, and we change hustle to out the gate, we should now start with 65 stamina at the beginning of battle instead of 50. Easy to test. We were missing a symbol in a line here. Oh, plus equals... Oh yes, because this one, this was originally an array push, so it had to have a closing parenthesis. We copy-pasted, but we left the parenthesis in. Now we're doing a plus equals to a global variable instead of pushing an array. Boom. Bug fixed. Run it. $65 stamina. Boom. Cool. Very, very cool. So that's done. That was the last in-battle passive then, I think, right? Did we say that was true? Does this currently still break this? We need to check. We need to check on that, actually. Because it really shouldn't. This it really shouldn't break anything. It should, because it's all placeholder. None of this should this should be unparsable effects, and it doesn't care. Okay, so yeah, we got the defense special or the stat specializations for training, and then we got stoicism, which just applies to like battle and training. So we'll implement those in one go next time. Very easy, very quick. These plug into functions that do very little, so they very easily slide in there without having any compounding complications in the code. Stoicism's not much harder, because we just find the part where we say battles do X stress, and then we just add this to it. And then, yeah, I think if we look at the attack dictionary, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, there's a few of these different effects that we don't have implemented. Yeah, like this one. Both cannot move. I don't think no move is unimplemented. So let's look at this. So we have not implemented crit bleed and no move. So we need to implement effects that trigger specifically on crits. I.e. like a critical hit will cause an additional effect, in this case a bleed. And then we need to just code in this new status effect where you're not allowed to move. Which shouldn't be too hard either. This is simply a check if the status is active and then disable players from moving. Probably do this as like a global variable or something very simple. But then, of course, as we add new animals to the game, we'll have to give them move sets, because while we've coded a wide range of passives, many of which can propagate just to any animal in the game, the attacks, we haven't done as many. A lot of these are very much like carnivore coded for the Carnotaurus. So if we implement like a Stegosaurus, we need like a whole range of new Thagomizer attacks and stuff. And probably some new passives to go along with those, because if we look at the passives, we are running a lot of stuff here that's connected specifically to theropod stuff again, like serrated teeth, extended horns. These are obviously, you know, connected very specifically to traits of the Carnotaurus. But we can like implement, you know, a version of like extended horns, but it's for Thagomizer, right? Like, if we can just implement variants of these that kind of tie into other animals. And then maybe if we find some other spicy things we want to implement, we can also code those in as we're adding the new animals. But optimistically, like, I'm feeling pretty good about where we're at. It's been like many weeks of just back-end coding with like no content added to the game, which really doesn't look like we're doing anything, but I think that's about to change. I think we're about to see a lot of content on the front end get added, which would be really cool. And then maybe, you know, like a month from now, I know what I'm doing with this game long term, I mean. Because once I have the demo done, I can talk to some people and we can consider business, basically. All right, that's it for the stream. I'm going to head out. Thanks for watching, if you watch. We'll do another one of these on Thursday. Goal for Thursday will definitely be to finish the implementation of the passives and attacks we have. And start to set up... maybe I'll get like the first animal ready to be added. I'll like maybe design a new animal, like the moveset for the enemy's version of it in the next few days, so we can add it on Thursday if we have time. Alright, let's save off a new backup. Catch you later, Rugaps. Continue to always save a new backup. Literally a new file every time I do one of these. Alright, there it is.